Hello and welcome back to the Victory Education Lounge. I'm your host Maurice, and today we're continuing our malaria series with part 10, where we'll be discussing antimalarial drugs, categories and how they work. Understanding the different types of antimalarial drugs and how they function is key to managing and preventing this deadly disease. Whether you're curious about malaria treatment, prevention, or looking for an overview of how these drugs work, you're in the right place. Before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And of course, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts or experiences with antimalarial drugs. You might be thinking, why should I care about antimalarial drugs? Well, these drugs are the frontline defense against malaria, a disease caused by parasites from the Plasmodium family. These microscopic invaders can wreak havoc on the human body, leading to severe and sometimes fatal consequences. Antimalarial drugs are heroes in this battle, designed to kill these parasites at different stages of their life cycle. They are crucial not only for treating those already infected, but also for preventing infection in the first place. So, understanding how these drugs work is a key component in the fight against malaria. Dive in with us as we explore the fascinating world of antimalarial drugs. First off, let's delve into Artemisinin-Based Combination Therapies, or ACTs. This class of antimalarial drugs is currently the frontline treatment for Plasmodium falciparum, a strain of malaria considered the most perilous. ACTs owe their origin to the sweet wormwood plant, from which the primary component, artemisinin, is derived. This powerful compound is typically paired with a slower-acting partner drug, creating a potent combination that aims to eradicate all malaria parasites in the body. Let's break down how ACTs work. The artemisinin component acts swiftly, breaking down the parasites in the bloodstream within mere hours. This rapid action significantly reduces the severity of malaria symptoms. Following artemisinin's quick strike, the partner drug steps in to finish the job. It eliminates any remaining parasites, thereby reducing the risk of drug resistance. ACTs boast a high cure rate, exceeding 90%, and their rapid action makes them an ideal choice for treating severe malaria. However, as with any medication, ACTs do have their drawbacks. The most significant concern is the potential for drug resistance. This is particularly true in Southeast Asia, where instances of resistance to ACTs have been documented. Let's look at an example. In Cambodia, resistance to ACTs has been on the rise. This has led to an increase in treatment failures, sounding a global alarm bell. In response, efforts have been ramped up to develop new treatment strategies and alternative drugs, all in the hopes of staying one step ahead of the ever-evolving malaria parasite. So as we can see, while ACTs are highly effective, the threat of resistance is a significant concern. It's a reminder that, in the fight against malaria, we must constantly innovate and adapt, ensuring that our strategies and treatments continue to keep pace with the cunning resilience of the malaria parasite. The battle against malaria is far from over, but with continued research and innovation, we can hope to keep this deadly disease in check. Next up, we're looking at the Quinoline family of drugs. This group of antimalarial medications includes widely recognized names like Chloroquine and Quinine. These drugs have been used in the fight against malaria for many decades, with a particular focus on combating the strains of Plasmodium vivax and Plasmodium ovale. So how do quinolines work? Their mode of action is quite fascinating. These drugs interfere with the malaria parasite's ability to digest hemoglobin. Hemoglobin digestion is a crucial process for the parasite's survival, as it provides the necessary nutrients for growth. When quinolines inhibit this process, the parasite accumulates toxic byproducts which ultimately lead to its death. The quinoline family of drugs has some significant advantages. These drugs have been in use for a very long time, and have demonstrated high effectiveness against certain strains of malaria, notably Plasmodium vivax. This makes the quinoline family a valuable tool in the global effort to manage and reduce malaria. However, like any medical treatment, quinolines also come with their set of drawbacks. The most pressing issue is the emergence of drug resistance. Chloroquine resistance in particular has become widespread, especially in infections caused by Plasmodium falciparum. This has considerably limited the use of this drug in many regions across the globe. To illustrate this, let's take a look at what occurred in Africa. Chloroquine was once the standard treatment for malaria across the continent. However, due to widespread drug resistance, its effectiveness significantly diminished over time. This led to a shift in treatment strategies, with health authorities recommending alternative drugs to combat the disease. In conclusion, the quinoline family of drugs, including chloroquine and quinine, have been instrumental in the fight against malaria. Their unique mode of action and effectiveness against certain malaria strains have made them a valuable asset. However, the widespread emergence of drug resistance, particularly to chloroquine, is a major challenge that needs to be addressed to maintain the effectiveness of malaria treatment strategies. Despite their efficacy, the widespread resistance to quinolines, particularly chloroquine, is a major challenge. Moving on, we'll now explore the antifolate group of antimalarial drugs. Antifolates are a category of antimalarials that include drugs such as sulfadoxine pyrimethamine, commonly known as SP. They're named antifolates because they inhibit the action of folate, a vitamin that malaria parasites need to reproduce and grow. To understand how antifolates work, think of them as saboteurs. They sneak into the parasite's biochemical machinery and disrupt a key process. Specifically, they block two enzymes that the parasite uses to create folate. Without these enzymes, the parasite can't produce new DNA and proteins, which it needs to multiply. In essence, antifolates starve the parasite of its essential building blocks, causing it to die off. Now let's consider the pros and cons of antifolates. On the upside, they're highly effective against certain types of malaria, such as Plasmodium falciparum. They're also relatively cheap and easy to produce, making them a cost-effective option for large-scale malaria control programs. However, antifolates aren't without their drawbacks. One major concern is the potential for drug resistance. Many regions have reported resistance to sulfadoxine pyrimethamine, especially in Africa. This resistance can lead to treatment failures, posing a significant challenge for malaria control efforts. Another downside is the risk of side effects. While generally well tolerated, some patients may experience reactions such as skin rashes, mouth sores, or more rarely severe skin reactions. As such, antifolates require careful management to balance their benefits against these potential risks. To illustrate the use of antifolates, let's look at Malawi. In this African country, sulfadoxine pyrimethamine is used in combination with artesunate, an artemisinin derivative, for the treatment of uncomplicated malaria. This combination therapy helps to boost efficacy and reduce the risk of resistance. In conclusion, antifolates play a significant role in the fight against malaria. They offer an effective, cost-efficient option for treating certain types of the disease. However, like all antimalarials, their use must be carefully managed to prevent resistance and minimize side effects. Antifolates, while useful, require careful management to avoid side effects and resistance. Lastly, let's take a look at the endoperoxides. This class of antimalarial drugs is relatively new on the scene but shows significant promise, especially in the fight against drug-resistant malaria. Endoperoxides are characterized by their unique chemical structure, which includes a peroxide bridge. This bridge is crucial for the drug's anti-malarial activity. It's believed that the peroxide bridge interacts with iron in the parasite's body, causing a series of reactions that ultimately kill the organism. So, how do endoperoxides work? When a malaria parasite invades a red blood cell, it begins to consume the cell's hemoglobin for nutrients. As it breaks down the hemoglobin, it releases iron. The endoperoxide drug, once inside the parasite, reacts with this iron, causing a cascade of reactions that lead to the parasite's death. It's a bit like setting a trap for the parasite, using its own feeding process against it. Now let's talk about the pros and cons. The major advantage of endoperoxides is their potential to combat drug-resistant strains of malaria. As we've discussed, resistance is a growing problem with many established antimalarial drugs. Endoperoxides offer a new mechanism of action that could be less susceptible to resistance. However, endoperoxides are not without their drawbacks. They're still new, and while early results are promising, more research is needed to fully understand their long-term effectiveness and potential side effects. Additionally, their complex structure makes them more expensive to produce than many other antimalarial drugs. An excellent example of the potential of endoperoxides is seen in the drug artemisinin, currently in development. This drug has been shown in early trials to be effective against drug-resistant strains of malaria, and it could be a game-changer in the fight against this disease. In conclusion, endoperoxides offer new hope in the fight against drug-resistant malaria, but more research is needed. It's an exciting time in the field of antimalarial drug development, and we look forward to seeing what the future holds. We've covered a lot of ground today, so let's recap. We delved into the vital world of antimalarial drugs, understanding their categories and how they work to combat the deadly malaria parasite. Starting with Artemisinin-Based Combination Therapies, or ACTs, we learned how this frontline treatment operates swiftly to reduce the severity of malaria symptoms and minimize the risk of resistance. Next, we explored the Quinoline family of drugs, uncovering how they disrupt the parasite's ability to digest hemoglobin, leading to its eventual death. However, we also acknowledged the increasing challenge of drug resistance, which has limited the use of certain drugs like chloroquine in many regions. These classes of antimalarial drugs each play a crucial role in treating and preventing malaria, but they're also met with challenges like resistance that require continuous research and innovation. Remember, in summary, understanding the various types of antimalarial drugs and how they work is critical for both treatment and prevention. From ACTs to Quinolines and Antifolates, each drug plays a role in controlling this deadly disease. However, drug resistance remains a major challenge, which is why ongoing research and new treatments are so important. Before we wrap up, I want to thank you for joining me today in the Victory Education Lounge. If you're passionate about making a difference, I invite you to support the fight against malaria by visiting United to Beat Malaria. You'll find the link in the description below. Together, we can help save lives and create a healthier world. Every contribution, no matter how small, brings us one step closer to a world free from malaria. Remember to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Together we can unveil the truths about malaria and join the battle to end this global menace. Disclaimer: the information provided in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Any health-related decisions should be discussed with a licensed physician. Always seek the advice of your doctor or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition.